Okay, I'm going to start by making, maybe it's too far out, making a couple of dots on my paper. They can just be random. I wouldn't put them too close to the center or the outside. And then I'm going to use a compass. Just make sure it turns nice and easily. I'm going to be putting the flat side down, and I'm going to align the center there with the my dot. And then I'm going to count 3 out from where I was, and it doesn't have to be exact. And then from here I'm going to switch. I'm going to hold the center, and let's go to the first or second piece here. And I am using a pencil. I'm going to later trace over this with a Sharpie marker. Again, I'm starting with the first, then I'm counting out 3. And because there's a big space there, I usually do the first or the second hole that's available. I might even do 1, 2, 3, another one out. I'll go back and do another one out. It's good to keep everything even. 3, meaning, you know, if you did 3 on this, you want to do 3 here. It helps you out later on. So again, I'm just going to keep going. First one, like the third, and then coming out here, first or second one, and I think I did one more. Okay, and again, and I'll go back, excuse me, I'll go back to my first one. 3. And we're making our very own pieces of op art. Now it gets a little bit more tricky, so I'm just going to go through and add 3, one at a time for each one. And it seems like that's kind of silly, but you'll see why. 3. Oops, it's not right. Yeah, that's right. Let's see, maybe I'm off on the center here. So I'm off a little bit on the center, I believe. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that makes sense. So that's why we're kind of doing this in pencil. So if you make mistakes like that, it's not a big deal. Okay, and I'll erase that later. 2, 3. And again, I'm coming back here. And I'm coming back to my first one. Now we're going to be converging with this one. 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to kind of take it over. And this is where it kind of gets tricky. And I would have an eraser on hand if you don't have one. 1, 2, 3. So, and I'll show you like right in here, and do this right away. Don't wait until, you know, you've done all of them, because sometimes you can't remember what you're supposed to erase and what you're not supposed to erase. Okay, so see how these two now meet right here? This meets here. We'll see what this guy does. 1, 2, 3. Okay, that one doesn't quite meet there, but we'll see if it meets with the other one. Does. It will do that just barely. Okay, so you can see those starting to touch right there. So I'm going to come back to my first one, and you're just going to keep going out. Later you're going to use a Sharpie marker and just trace around all of these very carefully. Use an eraser to erase all of the pencil. Lastly, if you don't want to just leave it black and white, what you could do is come in and alternate. Now you'll have to start with the same in the center, the same color in the center, and alternate, you know, complementary colors or black and white. might look interesting, and you can add some more contrast to your op art. So have fun with this. Again, you're going to do this with the pencil first, in case you make any mistakes like I did. Then trace it carefully with a Sharpie, and then you can erase the pencil that you have there and use either marker or color pencil to add some contrast with contrasting colors, or black and white.